So what I've titled this is the brain science of leadership. So the entrepreneurial leader. And since you guys have done the training on emotional intelligence for leadership, what I'm doing is kind of an extension of that in a way, so that we're looking at the mind of an entrepreneur and a leader. And what I would encourage you to do is to just keep putting comments in the chat or even questions. If you have a question, put it in the chat as well. And I'll keep my eyes closely on the chat while we go along. Bumi, how long do we have? An hour, roughly? Is that right? Okay, so let's go. So I'll start with this quote by Jeff Hawkins. You are your brain. If you want to understand why you feel the way you do, how you perceive the world, why you make mistakes, how you are able to be creative, indeed, what it is to be human, then you need to understand the brain. And you all be familiar with this whole concept of the importance of the brain in terms of how we think, what we do, how we behave, because all this is what would make you as a leader, as an entrepreneur, to be extremely effective. A lot of times the focus has always been on the skills that we have in order to set up a business or do things. The fact is that if we don't control what is going on in our brain, if we don't control that internal brain knot and everything going on there, it will have a negative impact on what we do, on the decisions we make, or even how we solve problems. So that's why this is really important. So I'm going to start by asking, who are you? And this is one question that is so important for everyone to really ask themselves. Who am I? What makes me me? What makes me who I am? And I think it's a very important place to start. If we go back to what we did in the training in emotional intelligence, the first key of emotional intelligence is that self-awareness. And the self-awareness is so important because, as I say, you cannot lead anyone else if you can't lead yourself. In the way that most people work now, you find that you as a person, you'll probably have people that report to you. But even if you don't have that now, you probably should be able to, at this level, to even manage upwards so that you understand the people that are above you and how they work, so that you can actually adapt your own behavior or what you do or how you interact with them to be more effective. And most importantly, actually leading yourself. So what I refer to as self-leadership. So what, really understanding who you are, what makes you you, how you respond, when you react, when you're triggered, and how to literally just be intentional about anything that you're doing. So this quote by Aristotle says that we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. And this is really important in terms of everything we do, because you find that as you keep doing things, your habit starts forming. And the key in self-awareness is now being able to understand what that habit is, understand who you are, because that is what makes you who you are. And then once you know what needs to be changed, it's now identifying those things and deciding to now change them. And as we go through, a lot of what we're going to talk about will be a reminder really of what you've done in the emotional intelligence. So it's now the key now is to then apply it to what you're doing. So look at this diagram and tell me what you see. And if you just put it into the chat, do you see lovers or do you see something else? If you just put it into the chat, okay, if I give you a clue, it's either you're seeing lovers or you're seeing dolphins. I can't see things coming through in the chat yet. What's the first thing that you notice? Okay.
Well, everybody, we're all
Interesting.
locals.
But this is what I expected, though. So, okay. So, can anyone see the dolphins?
Yes, I can actually see the dolphins.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
Okay, that's good. You
the
know,
more you.
I must confess, I haven't seen the dolphins yet. And I've been looking at this for. I can't see. So, Yejide, you can't see the dolphins. No, I still can't see the dolphins.
There are dolphins.
Can you see the You can see the dolphins, Bumi. You see, that's amazing. No, Mary has said no dolphins. They are dolphins.
I don't know, but I know I saw lovers first, and then my eyes are
Uh,
popping out.
actually, I did. Someone actually showed me where they are, but each time I try to focus, I lose it. So
Exactly.
yeah. So the thing about this is that it just shows that the way our brains are wired. What I haven't done yet is shown this to a kid because I was told that when a kid looks at this, they see dolphins first, but adults see the lovers, which is interesting. So it just shows how the way our brains are wired actually has an impact on how we interpret things. And that's what we're really going to be looking at later. And I have described this previously, how what you see, the way your brain is wired, or what you focus on, ends up making, what your brain ends up doing is confirming it. So it actually confirms what you focus on, and it will open your eyes to just see that thing you're focused on. Um, Please, can you later trace the dolphin? Okay. The dolphin keeps disappearing, Charles. But keep looking. We'll get to it. Right, okay. Let me move this out of the way. So the mind of an entrepreneur, how
Yes.
they how they have learned to think and solve problems is what sets them apart. And that's what we really want to achieve, because the mind, and that's why actually even leaders in organizations are encouraged to actually develop entrepreneurial skills, entrepreneurial mindset, because it really would make a difference, especially in thinking strategically. So as for for you guys that are looking into moving into entrepreneurship or leadership, it's really important that you develop that entrepreneurial mindset. And what is an entrepreneurial mindset? What does it look like? What does it mean? So that's a good question. Now, I just wanted to make sure I was recording. Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. Can you please allow Caleb in? He's outside. He's knocking.
Oh, okay.
Let's come on.
Yes, I can't see him. Okay. Okay. So we're going to do something really quickly now. And I'm going to put you into um, I'm going to put you into breakout sessions really quickly. How many are we on the call?
Well, we're nine, but we have six mentees.
So 6 mentees. Because I'm going to do it randomly, what I'll do is you and Dr. J, you probably end up in a room, but you can just take yourselves back out. So I'm going to, or you can just stay in there and listen. So what I want you to discuss is progress is the same as success. So you can take a picture of it before you go into the room. So progress is the same as success. So I'm going to put you into breakout sessions now, into breakout rooms. So I'm going to create, We're 10. I'll probably create 3. That should give us enough. Um, that should give us enough. Okay, and we've got 5 minutes.
Okay. No, I think I'm in room 2. So I
So let me move this out.
they're not as good as.
Bumi, which room are you in?
So I was in breakout too, but doctor is there, so I have
Ah,
come back.
okay. You've come back. Okay, let me see if I can put you into. Or do you want to join a room though?
Anyone?
Okay,
I'd like
let's
to
see.
join the since he's in what 2 or it would be.
So I'm going to. Where are you?
So,
Okay,
but can we see
Bumi
what they
here.
are doing in 2 sections from here?
You probably could jump around. Somebody's trying to
Okay.
come in. I'm gonna move you. Okay, yeah, he's there. So I'm gonna move you into 3.
Okay.
Bumi, are you back here?
I've not even moved an inch.
What happened?
Um,
We are three.
sorry, I got cut off. I was in breakout room 1.
Were you? Who is this?
This is Yejide.
Oh,
Good
yeah,
evening, ma'am.
Jide. Okay. So you want me to put you back in 1?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I think I've put somebody else in 1. I think I put Caleb back there in 1. Okay.
Okay.
Was Caleb with you?
No, it was just GBK, Olabi, and I in room 1.
Okay.
So maybe okay.
It's okay. I've
Okay.
put you back in 1. I'm going to move him back into. Bumi, you're meant to be in 3.
Okay. I'm here with you.
It's supposed to. Where is Charles? Charles and Miriam. Let's see if I can join. I'm going to join. Actually, well, it's almost time anyway. Let's see what they came up with.
Ma, anything else? Anything else? Call room.
Okay, I think most people are back in. Yeah, I think we're all back in. Is there anyone still out? Okay, yeah. Okay, so we're all back in here, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, so from breakout room 1, do you want to just tell us what you came up with or what you discussed? Ajibike, Olabi, and Yejide, anyone wants to talk about what you discussed, what you came up with?
Good evening, ma.
Good evening.
This is Ajibike.
Oh, is Ajibike? Okay. So progress is the same as success.
We all agree that progress isn't the same as success. Success is definitely a form of progress, but not every form of progress is successful. We came to a conclusion of saying success is meaningful progress, but not every form of progress shows success.
Okay.
That was our conclusion or summary of what we discussed.
Okay. So, so what was your reason?
Okay. Let me give one example. We're discussing about people's, if you're thinking about someone's career, you can move from a level in your career to the next level, and that's progress. Like you're moving from one step to the next step, from one point to the next point is progress. But you might not exactly be excelling or being able to actually meet the things you need to meet, which to you isn't success.
Okay.
Success is, being able to fulfill the things you want and being at the comfort point of it and knowing that you can excel in what you're doing. That was my example. But I think B and Yejide can give other examples.
Okay, thank you. No, that's cool. Okay, so B and Yejide, do you want to say anything? If not, let's move.
I totally agree with what Ajibike said earlier, that success, as in one can make progress, that doesn't mean the person is successful, but when the success means a meaningful progress. One of the examples that came to my mind is probably maybe you're driving to a particular destination, your destination is the airport, but you are at Oshodi, I don't know, I can't remember Lagos airport, maybe Lagos airport at Ikeja. And so from Oshodi, you get to, let's say, I just an example, you get to maybe Ikoyi, but if you're going to Ikeja, Ikeja means, oh, you've successfully arrived at the airport. But from Oshodi to Ikoyi, that's a progress. You've made a progress in the journey, but you've not been successful, you've not achieved. So that I just feel that you can make progress, but that doesn't mean that you can, until you attain that a particular milestone that defines you being successful. That's when you say you've been successful. So not every step ahead or step forward that is progressive means success.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks. Okay, breakout room 2. Okay, breakout room 2. There was no mentee there. Is that right?
None.
Ah, okay. Okay, so we'll move to breakout. Do you want to say anything? Did you discuss it or we're discussing business?
No, we were just staring at each other and waiting for. But I didn't want. But if you want me to say something, I could.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great.
Yeah. Because well, I think it's the group 1 has already built it. So if there is no destination or there is no goal, you cannot talk about success. But progress, you can make progress, but and still not make the destination or the. I like the example of the airports. You made progress, but you've not reached where you are going, and therefore you cannot say we are successful. So there must always be a destination or a goal for us to say we are successful.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Doc. Okay, breakout room 3.
Hello. Good evening.
Hi. Hi, Miriam.
So, hi. It was me and Charles in 3, and we have a different take on progress meaning success. We agree that
Okay.
progress can be success, as progress is success, because for us, we believe that human beings, we tend to measure things at a one-stop moment, like that moment that proves that this is success. The most accurate someone walks into your house and they, oh my
Your line is
goodness, this
really
person has
bad,
to be a
Miriam.
success because he has this and he has that, or she has this and he has that. Can you hear me now?
Okay,
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, let's try again. Yeah, okay, go for it. Yeah.
Okay, so we're saying that most times humans tend to measure success in that one moment that shows that the person has everything more than the next person does. But for us, we believe progress is success, because if you're someone that has like a horrible time management problem, and then you give yourself a time period of maybe 2-3 months, and in those 2-3 months you find out that okay, you're starting to get a hang on that, that has been progress, that has been a success in that direction. But because we won't see it as, because the person doesn't have a medal, we don't see it as a success. And then we also took the example of marriage. Somebody gets married and everybody seems to think, oh, you got married, that must be like a goal. But then you find out later on that the bad habits that either one of them have didn't change even after marriage. So there's no progress. The person isn't being a better person, the person isn't being a better partner. So you can't actually say the marriage is a success, no matter how many children they have or how many houses that they get. So for us, progress is success, because you now have to look at it as what has changed. Did you start from point A, move around, and then you find yourself back at point A? Because for me or for us, movement is in progress. Because you move from point A doesn't mean you've actually progressed. Where have you gotten to from the point you moved out of? Because you can move around for a year and you find yourself back in point A. You've moved. You've definitely moved. You've moved from maybe Ikorodu to Island, but you haven't actually progressed from your your state of mind or your manner or your approach. You're just the same person. You just moved from the mainland to the island, and that's it.
Okay. I'm not quite sure I got what you meant at the end, because I think there were a few things. But are you saying that progress and success is the same?
Yes.
You're saying they are the same. So what you're saying is that when you do move, for example, if you're going from point A to point B, when you move, when that's progress and that's success. Is that what you're saying?
Not
I'm
necessarily, ma.
saying
I don't
is
think.
not necessarily. Yeah. No, you can go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. Not necessarily, ma. I think she's just trying to say that progress is measured by a goal. So you want to achieve a goal, and when you've achieved that goal, that's progress, and that necessitates, that translates to success. So she was giving an example of moving from Ikorodu to Ikoyi. If you plan to move from Ikorodu to say Ogun State, but you move to Ikoyi, but the fact you've moved doesn't necessarily mean you've made progress, because you didn't achieve a goal. So when you make progress, it means you're achieving a goal, and success is relative. Success is measured by a goal as well. So that's where we want to look at it. That's when you're making progress, it means you're successful.
Okay, interesting view. Okay. Now, does anyone else want to make a comment on both, actually? And I'm going to come back to this at the end. Does anyone want to make a comment before we carry on? I'm going to come back to this and ask the same question. Yes, sorry.
Let me just chip in something,
okay,
right?
thank you.
So when I because of my finance background, right? So when most businesses, when they define their performance measures, they talk about growth and progress, because most times you see progress as growth. And growth may not necessarily mean success in this case, because your success is defined by a purpose. That means, okay, I want to make 1 billion in 2021. Not until you get to 1 billion, you will not say you have succeeded. However, if you now define milestones in that process, that in January, I'll make 100 million. In February, I'll make 200 million. So for every milestone you get to, you're growing, you are making a progress. So you are making, so it's how you define what is the purpose in mind. If I am moving from step A to B, right? It's my end goal. Then when I get to step B, I'll say I have succeeded, because that makes me happy. But sometimes the journey from A to B for me is the growth. It's progress, but we always say growth. So, but success can be ill success, right? And progress can be ill progress again, like. Yeah. So that's the way I want to see it. I think positive progress is success.
Positive progress is success.
Success,
I like that.
yes.
I like that. Positive progress is success.
Success, yes.
Yeah. That's a good one. Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, what I would say at this point is that if you don't know what's possible, and I think that's the key, small steps forward or even just surviving can then be seen as success. So it's important to actually know what your end goal is going to be. What is possible, and what do you want to achieve? Because real success is the actual achievement of your hopes and dreams, and not just surviving, and not just actually the fact that you've moved a bit, or you're moving in the right direction. So I like what Bumi said. It's at the end. And Dr. Jay said it's the goal. So it's that end result, that goal that you want to achieve. It's getting there. So for example, if it's making 1 million, that's the goal. That's where you're heading. That's what you want to achieve. And that's when you identify it as success, because you've now achieved the goal. But the journey to get there, as you're moving and growing, as that's where the growth comes in, then you're making progress. So in business, survival is not progress. Baby steps are not, and survival is not success. Baby steps is not success, which is the progress. Is the breakthroughs that you make in the business that equates to success. And I think it's really worth really thinking about this, which we'll come back to. I always say that success beats progress every time, because progress itself is not bad, but success is definitely better than progress. So let's just bear that in mind while we go along, and then we'll come back to it. So I'm going to share this screen again. Where has my slide gone? Can you see this? Can you see my slide at the moment? No?
No, ma.
You can't see it? Okay. I'll see if we can now.
Yes, I can see it.
You can now. Okay, cool. Okay, so there's it gone.
This disappeared.
It has. Totally. Oh, okay. Let's try again. It really disappeared. That is so weird. Okay. So why don't we always see the world as it really is. No, this is getting ridiculous. Why don't we see the world as it really is? Can you guys see the slides? Because I can't.
Yes.
You
Yes, we
can.
can.
Yes,
That's
we
Yeah,
can.
strange. That is so strange. I can't see it. Let me try and close these things on my screen. That is so weird. Pardon me, let me try and get this out of my way. Bring that back up. Okay, that's better. So why don't we always see the world as it is? It's an interesting question. In terms of even what we've just looked at now, looking at that illusion, and then even the way we've interpreted success and progress. And it's an interesting question because the way everybody views things will be so different. And it's so important to actually be aware of the way you are seeing things, the way you view things, the way, what is reality for you and what is reality for somebody else. And it's really because we see what we expect to see. So, what we want to see as well, and what we've actually been in a way conditioned to see. And it's really important when you're going into business that you are intentional about what you're doing, that you get your facts right, and you're not basing what you're doing just merely on what you've been told or what the press say or what media say or what you see from other people. It's really important to figure out what you want to get out of your business. What is your goal? What is it you want to achieve? Because a lot of times you find people going into business and when you really dig deep, it's most of the time it's what's I would say running somebody else's business, doing what other people want you to do or what you've seen other people do, which is not bad when you're learning what from what other people have done that has worked. But it's important to know where you're going. And I always say that being able to stay on your own lane is so important, because you find a lot of times people get into business. 1 minute they're doing one thing, the next minute they're doing something else. And there's this whole business myth that trial and error is great. Trial and error has its place, but if what you're doing is just constantly trial and error, you find that you're not actually going to be making that progress, not to talk less of actually getting to where you can actually say you're being successful. So being in your own lane is really important. Knowing where you're going, what it is you want to achieve is really crucial when you're getting into business. So it brings us to what habits are. What are habits of the mind? What creates those habits? Because this is what drives our actions. It's what drives our behavior. And habits of the mind are automatic patterns of thinking and being, and they operate mostly unconsciously, usually hidden from our awareness. And this is why the self-awareness becomes really important, to identify those driving forces. I've said it in the training we did previously, that 90% of the actions that we carry out are driven by our subconscious brain. So it's in our default, things that we do, our thinking, our decision making. Most of what we're doing is really from that place of subconscious. So if we are not, if what is in the subconscious, if what is driving it is not actually where we want to go, then we have this alignment, or we start having the struggles or having the problems. And that's where things like self-sabotage or procrastination sets in. I won't go into too much detail now over how the subconscious is formed, because I think we've done that before. But it's very important to start bringing that consciousness, or bringing things that you want to do into your consciousness. So what is in the subconscious into conscious, so that you can start actually achieving what you want to achieve, instead of just going with the subconscious, which has been most times been conditioned to do something that you've changed, either you've adapted over time, but it's still stuck into that way. And here I've got, just as a reminder, the difference between, or looking at the brain, the conscious and the subconscious brain, in terms of what we observe and what is the habits that we observe, which are the habits you see, which are driven really by the values and beliefs, by experiences, by our genetic makeup and our cultural background. These are the things that are driving our subconscious brain. So the iceberg just symbolizes the brain, where 90% of, or most of the iceberg is below the sea, we don't see, which is really looking at our subconscious brain. Most of what drives us is what is the 90% that we're not aware of most of the time. It's what we don't see. It's the bit we're not aware of, that bit we don't actually see most of the time. So that's, I'm just looking at the chat, someone put something in, okay. So that's what drives the subconscious, and that's what drives most of our behavior. So most of who you are, most of the results that you get, or interactions that we have going on, is from this area. And I would say these are beliefs are the filters that we see through. So it's really important that we remember that we are seeing the world not as it is, but as what is inside us. So that when you're making decisions or when you're interacting with people, you're bearing that in mind, so that you can make the right decisions, so that you can actually form the right relationships, attract the right kind of people, even collaborate as well with the right kind of people. And this quote by Elle Nightingale summarizes it when you say, whatever we plant in our subconscious mind and nourish with repetition and emotion will one day become a reality. So everything that really manifests into our life, into our experiences, is brought on from what is going on in our subconscious. So it's really worth taking the time to understand what is in our subconscious, and what is it that we believe in, what is it that is driving us, what is it that is driving what is our core purpose, what is it that makes us who we are, and what kind of decisions are we making? Are they the decisions that we truly believe in, or are they kind of decisions that we've kind of observed, or passively, or that other people have done that we're taking onto ourselves? So the conscious mind is the driver of entrepreneurship. And only when the conscious mind is in the leadership position can true entrepreneurial thinking emerge. So the unconscious mind or subconscious mind is actually I call the leader, while the conscious mind is the follower. So what we are saying here is only when that conscious mind, which is the follower, gets into that leadership position, so it's the one now leading our thought process, leading our habits, leading our behavior, that is when entrepreneurial thinking emerges, because that is when that ability to be creative can emerge. That is when the ability to actually make those logical decisions comes in, so that we're not actually making it from a place of from the passive subconscious brain, which most times what the information and memory that it has stored are things that don't actually serve us that well. Sometimes they do, but it's important that you then make that conscious decision. So the starting point for success is knowing when you will have to be supremely intentional in order to achieve your purpose. And I've put that quite clear in terms of supremely intentional, so that you remember that you are the one in control. You are the one that needs to make that choice. You are the one that, so basically, so that you don't end up a victim of life or circumstances, so that you are actually thinking about what you're doing and being intentional. And the key is really taking responsibility for your own decisions, for your business, for your career, for whatever it is you want to do. At the end of the day, it's down to you. And don't give that away. Don't, kind of let life control you so you end up floating through. So you are the one actually being intentional about what it is you want. And some questions to help you with that is asking yourself the question, what's the reality of this situation, or what's the reality that I want to accomplish? What do you know is the actual reality outside of your mind? And this is where the conscious and subconscious mind, a lot of times we have that struggle. And it's worth really coming back to what is real, which is what you're facing in terms of if it's a business decision, a career decision, or leadership decision. What is the fact? And then what are the other possibilities, even if they are highly unlikely? So how would someone else see this situation? And it's using questions like this to help you drive, come up with the solution you want to take, or action rather, that you want to take, is really important. So just making a note of these questions make a note of these questions so that you can use them as you move along. And the other thing you could use is minding the gap that we talked about in the actual emotional intelligence training. Mind the gap is another good one to use. So you can use that same mind the gap with these questions to enable you make that decision. So if you can see how your entrepreneurship contributes to accomplishing your core purpose, then you've made a connection that will sustain you when the going gets tough, and when you're possibly tempted to quit or to take the easy way out. So it's really important to come back to that core purpose of why you're doing what you're doing. What is the purpose of it? And I'm just going to give you some things to help you discover your core purpose. For those of you that attended the session we did on purpose, we've talked about this briefly. So it's really knowing who you are, what your purpose is. And it's often helpful to look at purpose as the answer to these three questions that can help you. What impact do I want to have in the world? What's right for me to do and what's wrong? And what kind of person do I want to be? So these are just some of the questions that you can ask to enable you achieve your purpose. But the video for that training on purpose, you can find, I think I put the link in the community. You can have a look at that. And some people discover purpose quite quickly in life. Some people, it's over a period of time as you start going through life and accumulate different experiences that enables you get to where to identify what your purpose is or what your core purpose is. So some of the things to help you as you're moving forward and going into this next step, these are some things to just think about. Discipline to start what you're doing. So when you know who you are or what you want to become, then you know what to do. And always put your courage to stop. So based on what you want to accomplish, what courage do you need to stop things? So there are some things that you might find that you want to stop. And some of these things could be negative things that you kind of feel, okay, I'm going to put an end to this. But sometimes they might not even be negative things. They might just be things that are they're right, good things, positive things, but not right for you. There are things that will not take you onto that success, that goal that you want to achieve. And it's in a case like that, it's possible to move it on to somebody else or let it go. But the key is to be intentional. And then empower others. Identify someone to empower. Don't be the lead for the people you lead. And I think this is really important, especially as you go up in your career. It's really important to be able to have that mindset of helping others so that you're not just focused on you, on what you will gain out of things. Let your focus be how much you can really make a difference into somebody else's life. And then be creative. What problem have you identified in your organization, in your industry, in your, whatever it is that you could solve? And it's just really letting your brain go for it. Start thinking. Sometimes you could just start making notes, write things down, observe where there's a problem that you could bring a solution. And that is a business. That could turn out to be your business. Positive connections. Based on what you want to accomplish, what do you need to meet? Well, what kind of relationships do you need to enable you achieve where you want to go or what you want to do? And you guys have got mentors. That is one good relationship to nurture, to actually help you to get to where you want to get to and to help you along your career. And then finally, I put be bold. What risks do you need to take to achieve your goals? If you wait until you're ready, you will be late. And if you're the kind of person that waits till everything is perfect, there's nothing like perfection. You've got to really step out. You've got to step out of that comfort zone and take a risk. But the important thing is that when you've gone through all this, then it's less of a risk, because you've actually done your research, you've done your planning, so you're actually going about it intentionally. Eleanor Roosevelt says you must do the thing you think you cannot do. And I always use this, I love this quote so much, because it just reminds you to actually be bold, to step out and do those things that you're afraid of. In fact, someone said that, even feel the fear and do it anyway. So even when you're afraid, the important thing is just moving. As long as because anything new, uncertain, we know that the brain automatically would see it as a threat, which I've explained this to you previously. So that it's the brain that is trying to protect you from what it perceives as threat, because it's new to it. But from the conscious brain, from what you've actually now processed through your conscious brain, that this is actually not a threat. This is just something new, and I'm going to change the meaning that my subconscious brain has given to it, and I'm going to now embrace it and go for it. So even though you might feel a bit anxious, you might feel a bit fearful, you might feel a bit that trepidation, just move out and start going, and then it gets easier. So next step, some good questions here. What have you learned about yourself since you started on this program as a whole? We don't have time, but if you can just write this down, so that in the meeting we have at the end of the month, I'm going to let's go through these questions, because they're questions I want us to really dig deep into. So we'll go through them in the coaching session end of the month. What have you learned about yourself since you started on the program, or since you started on your project? What strengths have you found most useful in your job, on the project, on your project that you're working on? And who have you recently helped, and what difference did it make in their work and also in yours? So if you just take these questions down. So finally, we're at the end now. The key to the entrepreneurial mindset. You need to be a strategic thinker. So you need to start thinking strategically. Strategic thinking is your ability to formulate a vision, a mental picture of what you want to achieve, and articulate it clearly in words and images. So it's your ability to identify opportunities, to see alternatives as well, so that you're able to understand the need the need for change, or the need that, to actually bring about some form of new scope that you want to do. And then it's also your ability to see the big picture of things, so that you're able to devise an effective strategic plan that will lead you to realize what it is you want to achieve, or achieve your vision or goal or whatever it is. It's also your ability to see beyond the habitual rules that you're used to as well, or conventional wisdom that we know about, so that you're able to discover new principles, new rules, and new ways of behaving, or new ways of doing things as well. So whole brain thinking. Whole mind thinking, or whole brain thinking, is the intentional use of both analytical thinking, which is mostly conscious and logical, and intuitive thinking, which is mostly unconscious. So most people, rely predominantly on one way of thinking. Sometimes it could be analytical, or it could be intuitive. And what happens is that they will describe it to others in statements that kind of come out similar to, I trust the facts, or I trust my gut. And that's how you tend to know that someone is leaning one way to the other. And we've talked a lot about the brain. In fact, you guys, you should actually go through your brain mapping report again, and just kind of look at it and see if you can identify some movement for yourself, or how you've actually started changing how you think, how you started changing how you interact with others, and how you solve problems, or what you do when an issue comes up. What's your first reaction when you encounter a problem, or encounter something that is unexpected? Creativity as well. How creative are you is really important. And it's really, I've mentioned this, it's just worth really opening yourself up to new ideas, and, kind of exploring different ways that you can do things, and, and not being stuck in one way, or being stuck in doing things in a particular way. Kind of be open to doing new things, and give your brain that opportunity. This question, when I tend to ask, are you creative? It would be interesting actually to see what you guys say. So if you just put in the chat, if you consider yourself to be creative, can you just put yes or no in the chat? Do you consider yourself to be creative? Yes or no?
Miriam. Everybody will say yes.
Okay. So we have honesty. we have some. So Ajivika says no. Any others? What do you consider yourself to be creative? Ajivika, why do you feel you're not creative?
For me, I barely start up anything. I know how to maintain stuff. Like, you can give me an order and say, oh, let's do this way, and I'll know how to maintain it and make it work out for you. But maybe starting up on my own might not really be something I'm good at doing.
Interesting. In your brain map, was your goal high? Do you remember?
My goal for the creative part?
Yeah, no, you know the prison map we did, the brain mapping diagnostics.
And a bit of, I had some gold and some green, but more of a blue.
I was more blue. Okay, interesting. And Yechide says, I think I am just average. Okay, that's interesting. Right. Okay. Everyone has the ability to be creative. Remember, we talked about this in terms of, excuse me, adapting our behavior. The fact is that nothing in our brain is fixed. Our brain is constantly connecting. And even if at this time you're not being creative, either because of the role you're in or something like that, the fact is that you have got the ability to be creative. So don't kind of box yourself up and go, no, I'm not, because you've got it. You've got the ability to be. Again, you might actually be working in an area that is fine, that suits you, natural behavior preference in terms of, like Ejide says, carrying on something, or finishing things, or making sure things work, but not actually coming up with the ideas. But the truth is that everybody has the ability to be, and if you give yourself the opportunity to actually let yourself come up with different ideas, and you can start it gradually, even at work. When there's a problem, just start thinking of different ways of looking at things, or different ways of doing it. That's being creative, and you can start from there to start really building yourself up. So in terms of even starting a business, or doing something for yourself, the key, the first place to start is, look, where is there a problem in what in my industry? Where is there a problem that I can, and then start looking for the solution to that problem. And that's how most businesses are born. And the other thing is double vision. And I think this is just so important, because double vision keeps you from getting too narrowly focused and from getting entrenched in a single point of view. And it kind of links back to creativity in a way, because double vision will enable you to be strategic and operational as well. And what you tend to find a lot of times in leaders is that some of them are either operational, or you find the ones that are strategic, and a lot of times people struggle to do both. But it's really important that, and this is where double vision comes in, because to be an effective leader, you've got to be able to do both. And there are times that you might need to lean to one or the other, depending on depending on circumstances, or depending on what's happening. But you need to be able to be flexible to do both. And it's really believing you can, and actually embracing the idea to do it. So it helps also keep you grounded in reality when you've got that double vision, because you can see different aspects of things. So as a leader, a lot of times you find some people in leadership that are actually far removed from reality of a lot of situations. And this is when you find that they lack this double vision. So it's something that you should really embrace, so that you can always see the different views, and also listen to people, be open to listening to other people's ideas, because you always find that that opportunity to have that diverse view can be very useful. Also, be curious, and this also helps with creativity, curiosity, and a hunger for information. The best leaders stay alert for and are aware of the flow of possibilities and opportunities available to them. Really important to be open to curiosity, and just keep asking questions. So I put here, the question actually is, are you ready to take action? Ready to actually start moving, so that you can start making a change, in your industry, make a change in where you work, make a change in life, so that you end up leaving a good mark, but doing it effectively. And to start it, you've got to believe that you can do it. And I think that's the key. You've got to believe you can. And I've put here, you've got a choice. And the choice is that you are in control. You are the one that has to be intentional about what you're doing. But the fact is that you can. So pursue excellence. And the winners in life think constantly in terms of I can, I will, and I am. Losers concentrate on what they should have or would have done, or what they can't do. So the question is, which one are you? Or which one do you want to ensure that you are? And finally, be the hero of your life, not the victim, so that you can actually, make a difference, do something really tangible. So that is the end of the presentation, and I'm going to stop sharing. So does anyone have any questions or comments? Sorry, Charles. Questions or comments? Any questions?
Hey, why is everyone quiet?
Hello, Mark.
Okay.
Hi,
Yeah.
Dee.
Good evening, ma. Thank you so much, ma, for the presentation. It was really very enlightening, and it was powerful. Thank you so much for
No,
that.
you're welcome. You're
Don't come
welcome.
on.
My question is about
Good evening, ma.
the fact that empowering, we should try to empower others. We should not.
Can
Do
you
other.
put, if you're not speaking, put yourself on mute? Okay, yeah, cool.
Yes, my question is about empowerment. He said we should try to be empower others and not be the lead to other people, to the people we are leading. So as regards empowerment, I wanted to ask, is empowerment the same thing as delegating responsibilities to people that you know that have the capacity to ensure that the vision of that you uphold is being established? And then the second thing is, if empowerment is the same as delegating responsibilities, when you delegate responsibilities to other people in your team or to a committee, members to a committee to perform a particular duty, but they are not, and you later notice, or you notice that as in along the line, they are not energetic, they're not passionate about it, or even after trying to come after persuading them and they were passionate about it, but they're not doing as you would, or they're not performing to your level, or as in the level you expect them to. What do you do? Do you just close your eyes and just take up the assignment by yourself, and so that there won't be a backflow, or how, or what would you advise to be done or should be done in that kind of setting? Thank you very much.
Okay, no, you're welcome. I like your question. Okay, in terms of the empowerment, when you delegate, that is actually empowering someone. So when you delegate a task to someone, that is actually helping to empower them. So yeah, that is kind of a form of empowerment. Also, in terms of the next question, if you give someone a task and they don't use the same energy and have put down there, yet they don't meet your expectations, basically. One of the things about task is, or delegating something to someone, is that if you delegate something to someone, or you want someone to do something, it's for them to really buy into it or be motivated to do it. There has to be a reason. It has to be meaningful for them. So if you just tell somebody, go and do this, and for them, there's no emotional connection to it, they do it haphazardly or not even completed because there's no buy-in there. And that's the same principle when you're going through a change process. If you're going through a change process and people don't understand the reason why or buy into the reason why, you will lose them. In fact, you end up having a lot of resistance. So for you to delegate, it's important that you actually explain the reason to them, talk to them so that they actually understand the importance of it or why you've asked them to do it, so that there's some form of buy-in. And then you need to then just make sure that they're doing it. So it depends on who the person is, but it's really, I think one of the things I always advise is touch base with them over time. Don't just leave them till the end and then it's not being done, and encourage them as well. Kind of set times where you meet with them and discuss their progress. And so that if they've got issues or questions, let them also feel free to speak to you and talk to you about the issues they're having. But keep touching base with them so that if there's a problem, you can pick it up quickly and try and solve it as quickly as possible instead of getting to the end. And in terms of them not meeting your expectation, they need to know what that expectation is. And it's really important to make that clear. And that's where the communication comes in. And we did that in the module we did on communication, how well you communicate with people. And go through that module again, because sometimes what you say is not what the other person has heard. So it's really important to determine, have they actually heard what I've said? And one way of doing that is actually getting them to even repeat it, or to just go through what you've discussed, to make sure that what they've actually heard, because you said something that's come from your brain, their brain is wiring in their own way and might completely be a different thing. So it's really important that that communication is that there's that clarity. So that's one of the ways to actually get delegation to work. And it then helps them to grow as well. If it's somebody that you're, if it's someone in your team that you're wanting to empower, it would help them grow. Does that help?
Yes, ma, absolutely. Thank you so much, ma. Thank you.
And yes, if anyone wants to add anything to that, please do, Dr. and Bumi.
Yeah, I think that's a very important question, because for a leader, sometimes that's one of the traps that you have. You give things to people and you take it over again. Then you are not delegating. You probably start with simple things that even when they mess up, it's not going to really kill you. And then, but also, just like Maureen said, it's not abdication. Don't abdicate your role completely. You are delegated. That means that there must be feedback from the person who is supposed to be doing that. There must be constant communication. Because if you are not careful, what will happen is that you just say you are a general without troops. And that's one thing that you must. So sometimes you have to lower your own standards a little bit to bring their own standards up to meet your own standards over time. But that's part of the thing of training your followers so that they can know what exactly you want. It's a difficult thing to do sometimes, but it's a must. So it's good for leaders to be able to do that, so that they can. But communication is so important all along.
Yeah, thank you so much. I like that. That's so true. I think that point of actually sometimes you might need to lower your standard is so true. Because I think it's the expectations a lot of time that causes the frustration. So you need to manage your own expectations of the person, know where they are at, so that you manage your own expectations. Remember, it's really on you. And and it's the solution is not going to take it from them to do, as Doc said. It's actually really helping them along the way so that they can do it. Thanks for that. Any other comment or question?
I have a comment. And you see, I'm a doctor. I don't speak so much grammar like you. But the whole thing that this program is all about is what you capture today, really and truly, is to change the mindset of the mentees, or to develop their mindset, not to see problems as problems, but they are potential opportunities. And it's something you have to train yourself to do. So, and that's one of the reasons why we see, why this mentorship program was started. That it's the easy thing, and no insult meant. The easiest thing for you to do is to pack your bag and baggage and run out of the country. Okay? It's the easiest thing to do. But you know what? For most people, it's not the best thing.
Yeah.
But you will never get that answer until 20 years down the line, when you can't come back. All bridges have been burnt. Do you understand what I mean? And that's why we're saying that if you can, from your age now, start seeing problems as potential opportunities, then you can solve it. The problem with especially professionals, especially doctors, is that we tend to think in one single way. I'll tell you an example. When I was in UCH, training as a gynecologist, the only thing everybody was looking forward to, they call it 1 year abroad. It was automatic in your residency program. Once you pass part 1, you are eligible to go and spend 1 year in the UK. But nobody came back from the UK. Once you escape, you don't come back. But nobody bothered to look at what happened to these people that have gone for about 10 years. Then it was even very bad because they won't give you registration number. So you could not even become a consultant. So you now see somebody who has left for 10 years, 15 years, and is a registrar. But because they were earning pounds, everybody thought, oh, okay, once I go, I just send money home, I build a house in Ibadan. Everybody was building houses in Ibadan. I'll do this, and then I come once in a year, and I'll pretend as if everything is okay. Meanwhile, you are first on call. You are already 60 years old. Do you understand? So, but nobody sat down to look at that thing and say, is that what I really want to be? So because now what everybody is doing is, oh, they are paying you 10,000 in Saudi Arabia. You are forgetting that you are going to spend, you are not going to spend naira there. Okay, so you don't even have a realistic picture of what the future holds. What we want you to be able to do is, if you can identify some of the problems that you can turn into opportunities for yourself. And that's what this training is all about. So this has been very, very well captured today. I have learned a lot of things. Some of them I'm going to put in my presentation also. Because this when you are talking about discipline to start, courage to stop, this is what a successful entrepreneur should be able to do. You should know the things that they are not necessarily bad things, the things that you have to give up. I had to give up my first love, which is medicine. People don't know I've given it up because I'm now an entrepreneur. I rarely see patients again. I love being a doctor, but I knew something that one of the problems that hospitals have is that nobody manages them. And they expect you to grow. How can you manage something how can you expect something that you're not managed to grow? Even if it grows, it's going to become a monster. So I had to start changing my own mindset in order to be able to manage what we were creating. And so I think it's one thing that all of you at one stage, maybe it's too young, you're too young now, but you need to get the right mindset. And this is what this is all about. So thank you so much, Maureen, for this again.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. And it's so true. It comes down to the mindset. And once you can control that, there's no limit. You literally can achieve what you set out to achieve. And you guys are so young now, so this is your time. And this program has, you're so blessed to be able to do this. So, really lucky to do this. So make the most of it. Let it not be a program that you finish and then, oh yeah, it's done. Let there be a difference between you and people that haven't done it. And that's down to you. So, yeah, it's cool. Any other comments? In fact, from even the mentees, any response to what Doctor said as well, in terms of what you found, are you is the program, is this the end now?
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, for me so far, the program has opened me up to the fact that I can actually be more enlightened in parts that I can focus on. It's getting me more centered to what I need to focus on and not be distracted easily by things that might not necessarily be important in the long term. Like doctor said that the time you know the answers to most of your questions is like 20 years down the line, and looking back you realize that okay, this was the right path to choose or this wasn't the right path to choose. It's something that I know that I've thought of before, because I was looking at life and I was like, you don't want to wake up 30 years later and you're living under the stars and you're wondering where did that go, like where did your life go wrong. You want to be able to look back and understand, okay, these were the choices I took, and then be able to do something and impact people that are around you, your society, and give back. So this program, like, it's not just saying, oh, come and learn. It's saying, come and do something that will make an impact in that 20 years time.
So what has the program actually done for you? What impact, has it had on you specifically?
It has definitely changed the way I approach my workspace. Coming into my office, most times I realize that, okay, there's a lot of squabble amongst everybody. It's a military setting. So I tend to try to be the calm in the midst of the storm, where the civilians can relate to me, the military personnel can relate to me, and I can be able to give the CMD a proper breakdown of what the situation is in order to reach a consensus. Prior to that, I would have just been the one that will try to avoid as much fire as possible and, just do my work and leave the place. So it has changed. I'm not hiding away from the problem, I'm trying to solve it.
Okay, thank
So,
you.
like doctor said, it's not just seeing problems, it's seeing opportunities.
Thank you. So is there anyone based on this program that has actually got kind of a long a plan of what they would like to do or want to do in terms of entrepreneurship, leadership? What is there anyone that came in with a different view and now has a clearer view of something they want to do? I think I'm just curious to see what the journey that you've made.
Outspoken ones or not? Oh, they're here. Yejide. Charles said he's having problems with his
Okay.
network.
Good evening.
Hi.
I'm here now,
Okay,
ma.
so
Okay, Yejide,
I
hi.
was thinking if I should talk or I should not talk, but I think I will just talk.
Well, Bumi got you
So
there.
yes, you did. So when I came into the program, I was at a point, I can remember that at the onboarding meeting, my question was, I was asking about my question because I have a background in pharmacology, and then
Yejide, your net, we can't hear you.
and I remember was that I was thinking that she
Wait, we missed that. Could
okay,
you
can
go?
okay, so yes, I said at the onboarding meeting, I remember that I asked the question whether I should go back to my pharmacology or I should stick with medicine. And I remember very well that one of the answers that doctor gave to me was that we always like to look at things as a one-way thing, but life is not like that. So while I was busy struggling with should I stay with pharmacology, should I go into medicine, the other mentors talked about the fact that in medicine there are different parts of medicine. So it doesn't have to be clinical medicine. There's the administrative part, the financing part, that's the people that deal with the health management organizations. So at that point, what started to happen to me was that it started to challenge my thinking and my status quo. So I was all about, okay, maybe I should just do clinical medicine. And if I can't do clinical medicine, let me go to pharmacology. But I see that every day, though currently now I work with a pediatric hospital, but I also work part-time for a non-governmental organization. And it has opened me up to so many other things I can do with my medicine. So now I'm getting more clarity that maybe the clinical part medicine is not for me, because at the end of the beginning of this program, I started out thinking that, okay, let me do primaries, or let me do like everybody is doing, let me write lab and let me get out of the country. Though I'm still pursuing that path. But more and more, I see myself trying to get opportunities to probably do a master's in global health and focus on the non-clinical part that I've always liked. And I think for me, one of the things that this program has done for me is that I'm leaving my comfort zones. There are so many things I'm doing now, so many things I'm applying for, the job I'm currently doing with the NGO. I have no, when I first did the interview, I had no idea of the role, but they asked me that I make a presentation, and I did the presentation and I went to talk to them. Of course, I focused on my strengths, which was presenting something about health, but it was talking about the health system, health organization and health systems. And after the presentation, they were quite impressed. And even though they didn't get back to me for a very long time, they eventually called me and said they have a project and they need medical advice and input. And I've been doing a lot of things out of the medical line, and I've been learning a lot using my PowerPoint presentation skills that I learned with my mentor, and just diving into other things. I'm taking some courses too on global health systems, health organization, and it's really opening me up to a lot of other opportunities. So for me, I think that this program has helped me to realize that life is not one way. There are different ways to approach things, and more, I'm seeing myself not really going into clinical medicine and just going into the non-profit space.
Okay, no, thank you. That's good. That's encouraging. That's good. Well done.
Did I ask someone else? Charles, are you still having problems with your network?
I'm here, ma.
Okay. So what value as a program? What have you gotten from the program since you started?
All right, ma. First of all, let me sincerely thank Dr. Jai for putting this up together. Thank you very much, sir. We didn't pay a dime, just selected us, and we're very grateful. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Auntie Ruby. Thank you very much, Maury. Thank you very much. It's really been an impactful 1 year. I know you really had in mind for us to really every time you speak with us, it seems as if we are not like maybe doing as much as we should do. It seems you want us to really squeeze much more out of the program and the mentors. But believe you me, I believe that we've really gotten one or two things to run with. So for me, really, starting up the program at a very young period of my internship, by the grace of God, I was able to complete my internship in the program. So starting up the program during the period of my internship gave me some direction.
So you finished your internship now, have you?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Last month.
Okay,
yeah.
well done.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So I must say that I've picked two things really. One is the relationships I've built from this, and two is the overall impact of the program. So starting from the relationships, I've built quite a good relationship with some of the mentees. And for example, I know one relationship I built with someone that almost led me to getting a job, or led me to almost getting a job, and that also gave me insight to how to practice. Then also the relationship I had with my mentor also went a long way in putting me in track, because I shared my plans with him, and he has tried to link me up with some people that can help me achieve those plans. And every young doctor in this country has always had that dilemma: should I stay in the country? Should I not stay? And believe you me, there are some things that will happen that just like you just be like, okay, this is it. I am not staying in this country. For example, the NSAS situation that happened. Sometimes you can just be owed salaries in this country. Just 4 months straight, and just like I can't take this anymore. But in all, with my discussion with my mentor and trying to select the path which I'll take, I've gotten clear direction on the path to take, and I feel I really owe that to this program, to this mentoring program. That has to do with the relationship. Then the overall impact. I mean, look at what we are doing this evening. especially during the beginning of the program when we had these mentoring sessions with you, Mrs. Maureen, the emotional intelligence course we did. I believe that those impacted our life really, impacted my life really strongly. And also, we've had some other mentoring sessions too with Ms. Bumi and even Dr. Ajay too, and some other mentors. And I feel that this has really impacted me. And I feel that the Abayomi Mentoring Program of 2020 is going to be a very huge part of my success story in the future. Thank you very much to the organizing committee. I'm grateful. Thank you. Yeah.
No, thanks, Charles. That's really good. Well done. Well done. That's really good. I'll
Thank
just
you.
make it. Yeah, I'll just make a comment about leaving the country. I know we talked about this in one of our coaching sessions as well. You guys see what's happening in the UK. Oh. There's nothing here. We are thinking of coming back. In fact, I was having a conversation with a lady this afternoon, and she said she's from Africa as well. She said, honestly, that every day, I think with everything going on with this COVID, I really feel I should be back in Africa. So it's not pleasant here. You know, it's not easy here, and it's even getting a lot worse. I definitely would say embrace what you have at home, honestly, and really look at opportunities there. Just thinking that there's a way out and that it's easy, just come out here is I think that time has gone, because I think back home you've got better opportunities. There's so much you can do. Because coming out here, all we're battling now is equality and diversity. Literally, it's for us to even be recognized. So it's a massive battle. So honestly, home, you've got so much. Make the most of it and let that thing not be at the back. Okay, yeah, if things get bad, I'll just run out, because it's not fun.
You know, I was talking to a friend of mine who lives in the UK. He's into tech. He has a tech company. This guy he has an office in Nigeria as well. And then we got talking, and his revenue business 90% comes from Nigeria. He works with Indians, and this guy is not even 40. He makes nothing less than $500 million every year
See?
in tech. He's into communications technology. You know, there are different aspects of video conferencing. That's his technology. He's worked with Cisco, with Polycom, all those things that we hear anyway. And you know what he told me? He said, look, with the number of problems we have in Nigeria, that he's always shocked to hear that people do not have jobs. As young as that guy, he started his company like when he was 29, right? He employs 67 people. Before the COVID thing, he had 100 and something, but now because of the COVID stress, he has about 60 something people. People in India, he has Indians working in his team. The same environment where you have a lot of tech companies they are recruiting people from Nigeria. Facebook is coming to Nigeria as we speak. We all know that. We've heard. Twitter is coming to Nigeria. Microsoft is coming. They have offices in Nigeria. These guys are recruiting Nigerians. All the big top 4 consulting firms in the world, they are in Nigeria. The opportunities are, but there are so many problems that if every one of us can even just solve one of the millions of problems we have in this country, we'll be very well. I think we need to find the opportunities, like Dr. Jai will say, the golden lining in the challenges we are having, and solve that problem.
Yeah, it's true.
Instead of running away.
It's true.
If you want to ask me about living in and running away from abroad, people should come and ask me. Every time I go, I always run back. I don't know.
No, but what of me here? Half of the time, I'm trying to be in Nigeria.
You try, yeah.
COVID, I'll be there. Eh?
You try.
Yeah, if not for COVID,
you still come
yeah.
home.
If not for COVID, I would have been in Nigeria. So please, I think, just make the most. There's so much going at home. There's so much. There are great opportunities in Nigeria.
Like the Chinese, learn the foreign and come back to your hometown to apply your
Exactly.
knowledge. You know. Oh, thank you very much. Do we still have questions? Olabi, you have been so quiet today.
That's very unlike him.
I hope he's fine. Oh, he's working.
Yes, but
Let
I
me
am
ask a question now.
the question.
Take everything in.
I'm taking
Okay.
everything in. It's just plenty. But
Okay. Miriam, let me ask. Adesola, are you here? Adesola, are you here? She's not here.
I am okay, Henry.
You're so quiet this night. Say something. Somebody has her in his hands. Who is that? Chike.
Okay, so I think for me, I came into the program with some clarity about what I wanted to do. So I feel that the high point of this program for me really has been the emotional intelligence course, and then my some of my conversations with my mentor. So I struggled a lot with my work at my workplace late last year. And as at December, I was so frustrated. I was thinking that I'll probably leave, or I just didn't see a way that I could do very well. So the emotional intelligence course really helped. And some of the conversations we had with Maureen, she was able to really helped me to see how my brain was working, and especially how the feelings of anxiety and helplessness that I would feel when some things were happening and some feedback were given and all of that. So it was just very helpful to help me to walk through those emotions and somehow be able to see, okay, this is what is real and this is what is just emotions. So that's one. And I remember two conversations I had with my mentor, which really helped. And what was very helpful was how she was able to give examples, right? And how she has felt exactly the same. So overall, I'm going to say that if I'm comparing my performance at work, Q2, Q2 this year was during the pandemic, then Q3, and then currently now. I feel that a lot, like a whole lot has changed. And what's the most important changes have been inside, not outside. There is there have been months and weeks when I've been doing a whole lot more than I was doing before, and I do not feel overwhelmed, right? I'm able to do the work, do the work well, complete it well, also mentor others at my workplace, because it's like a hill that I have overcome now, and I'm able to say, okay, you're feeling this way and that way, and you can do it, and you get better, and this is how to do it. So I feel that the emotional intelligence course really gave me the tools to walk through those feelings and improve my performance at work. And my conversations with my mentor too really helped with the real life examples that she provided. Then in addition, talking and walking through my priorities from the first few conversations we had, I was able to say, okay, I want to do quality improvement, capacity building. She helped me to just realize, okay, health systems is broad, but this is the exact areas I want to specialize in. I have then since then taken courses, because she told me you have to take courses, you have to show that you're an expert in that field. I published a paper Q3 last year. I'm working on one currently to be published in December. So I mean, she just that clarity to say, okay, you need to decide what it is in health systems you're really passionate about. So that's helped. And the tools from the emotional intelligence course too helped me with just being able to improve my performance at work. So thank you very much for the program. I'm really grateful. I feel that this year wouldn't have been as great as it has been without this program. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Tatola. Thank you.
Her voice, I hope you're fine. Your voice is like you have cold or something.
Yeah, I was ill over the weekend. I'm just recovering.
Sorry, okay,
Bele.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for your feedback. Any other person? Because Coach Maureen, we're really enjoying this. Any feedback?
It's true. You guys should speak or even ask questions now that you've got everyone on the same line. So this is your opportunity to.
Okay.
But I think
Hello.
we're curious to see, to hear your views as well, and how and what you also plan to do moving forward.
Okay. Please, I have a question.
Okay. Yeah, Charles.
Yes, ma'am. Once again, thank you. I just want. I don't know if anyone has asked this question while I was away, but I just want to ask. You know, how do you deal? Sometimes the system really frustrates people. That's the whole Nigerian system, and really, a lot of people that leave. It's not because they want to leave, but because the system has frustrated them so much. You can imagine someone working. I kid you not. You can imagine someone working for say 6 months or even more, and the person has nothing to show for it. The person is not being paid, or you are really underpaid. Let's say you're working as a um medical officer and you're seriously underpaid. You have a family and there's a lot of pressure, a lot of people are looking up to you. And, sometimes there's really no opportunity for you to even say you want to develop. There's no time for you to develop the ideas you have or the opportunities you can see. You can't even really develop them because you're so overworked and well, I'm not trying to just paint a very gloomy picture or try to paint a picture of impossibility, but I just want to say when the system really frustrates you, and Nigeria is really fond of that, how do you deal with it? Because I feel that that's really what's making a lot of us to run away. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to answer a bit, and then I would ask Dr. and Bumi to probably chip in into the pay one, how to deal with that. Now, in terms of when you say the system frustrates you, see, I know you gave the example, and I think that we can talk about that, but it's all a mindset because yes, everywhere have their issues. Nigeria frustration could be the lack of salary. When you come here, there's a different frustration. And some of it, a lot of times, is the racism, the discrimination, in fact, now doctors don't even have much of a say. It's that the whole American system, that whole patient charter thing is now so prominent here. So like if you even look at a patient one kind, they will say that you're not being helpful or you're not listening, and it's causing them to have mental health. That's the big one. It's causing them to have mental health issues because of the way the doctor responded. And then the next thing, they're taking you to tribunal, and then you're there. Now, so that every time the doctors are not sure, as a patient puts in a complaint, now have to go into so there's that whole thing going on here. So everywhere has its problems, I'll just make that clear. And it's not, here, okay, yes, you get paid, but and also even the working hours are not it's no joke for Shelley junior doctors. So there's that whole the hours that you work is not fun at all. And see what happened with COVID here. When at the peak of it, it was the ethnic minority doctors that were the ones that they were pushing into the forefront. The British doctors, half of them were calling in sick or didn't even go close. So that the death rate ended up being so high for Black people, and they were going, why is it so high? Why is it so high? So it's not, so there's that whole issue here. The other thing I would say is being, I think you talked about no time. I think no time that's, you can make time. I think if you want to do anything, you will find time to do what it is you want to do. There are people that go to work, come back, and literally start working on something that they're planning to develop over time. So there are times that I literally don't sleep at night. In fact, Bumi has gotten text from me at 4 a.m. before. There are times I literally stay up and work. So if you really want to do something, you'll find the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's my contribution to that. So let's.
Yeah, thank you, Maureen. I think this is where where we started from, this success and progress thing. Everybody needs to determine what you want to do, and it will help you to see out the things that are not important. I'll tell you some things. One of the problems that we have, like these youngsters have, I never had it, is that you don't choose your friends properly. I tell people that if you're a young doctor, you have no business being the best friend to a banker. You know why? At your level, a banker has more disposable income than you do. And therefore, when you start comparing yourself, you're hanging out constantly with them, you start thinking that you are deficient. So you need to, those are the things, when you choose what you really want to become, you know the sacrifices you need to make. And let me tell you, I was working here in Lagos in Lagoon Hospital in Apapa. There was a time I was not coming to the island at all, because anytime I came to the island, I felt bad when I went back to my house, because it seemed as if I was behind all my colleagues working on the island. So after a while, I just told myself, you know what, confine yourself to the mainland. You are in Apapa, from Apapa to Surulere. I come maybe once in 3 months or once in 6 months to the island. And those are the sacrifices. Now, if I want to now buy the island, I will try, But people did not know when I was doing that. So you need focus, a lot of focus when you determine what you want to become. And then you now deny yourself of some things on the short run. Choose where you work. You are probably just too young yet. Choose where you work. If you know that the salary in the government place is not going to be consistent, go and work for a private sector. Okay? So I think, when I hear doctors talk now, I just want to work for government. I look at them and I say, okay, fine. One, the government does not have equipment. Two, so you don't even develop. Two, your salary might not be there every month. Why do you now complain? You know what is on the ground before you went to sign for it. So those are decisions you need to make. And then, just like Maureen said, develop yourself. That is part of the goal that you have set for yourself. You must develop yourself. Until recently, 4-hour sleep was all I used to have. No war, no nothing. It's just I cannot sleep for more than 4 hours because I'll be eating. I need to do this. I need to do that. And up to now, I still do a lot of that. So, so you need to train yourself. You need to know what your own calling is. And don't live your life according to another person whose calling is different. So I think those are some of the things that you need.
Doctor, thank you. I like that what you just said about sleeping for 4 hours. When I tell them in my house, they would think I'm joking. When I tell these people, like, what are you sleeping at your age? What are you looking for? What will you do when you get old?
Your own is insomnia, Bumi.
No, mine is not so. Mine is not, because I work more at night. During the day, I'm busy pursuing clients. going for meetings that are probably
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I know.
no,
I
I'm
know you
just
got more
joking, not
advice.
value adding, but the truth is, doctor, I think there is time for everything. There was
Yeah.
something Maureen said when she was presenting. She said something about strategic thinking. I think one of the biggest challenges we have today within the youth population is they cannot see beyond their nose. All you just think about is the life. They don't want to work for it. You see somebody on social media driving the best car, wearing the best clothes. You think I don't know, but they are very young, these people. But the truth is, what is your own? What is your end? What are you looking at? You should start from where you are today with the end in mind, which is the emphasis you have just placed now. You have to determine where do you want to go. And then you now devise a means to get there. How can you achieve success when you have not made progress? You've not even defined your purpose. You don't even know what your purpose is. You're lost. You just follow anybody you see, you attach to them. You are right about that. How can somebody that's a medical doctor be friends with bankers? Their lifestyles are different. Choose your friends well. Choose your mentors well. Choose the kind of people you move with. Have a clear vision of where you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now, and work towards it. Even when you don't, we force sometimes, but then you pick up again because you have a plan. You keep moving. Everybody wants to go abroad. All the doctors. It's unfortunate. I see them and we're talking. There's nothing wrong in going abroad, but what is the end in mind? What are you going there to do? So Nigeria is bad. We keep saying it. We keep saying Nigeria is bad, but there are a lot of people in this country that are very successful. Every day, I work with 64 girls. Every day we are hearing.
You guys have more disposable income.
Oh,
Ours goes in tax.
Can I say something, Ma?
Yes, please, babe. We're here. We're here.
Okay, so for me, I think because I've done the research, most times I think what we are looking at is the end pay. Somebody comes out and tells you, "Oh, I make maybe $500 a week." You calculate that, and that's about $1,500 a month. And then we make that quick calculation to naira, and we're like, "Wow, that's a lot of money." But the thing is, I'm watching videos where somebody is telling me rent is 1,000, rent is 2,500 a month, and that is just your rent, light bills, gas bills, heat bills. And that's the thing. Most of them don't understand that there's something called heat bills because it is freezing over there. So they're not putting all that maths together. They're just looking at the end of the month, not the bills that follow. I mean, there's a young lady that has a rent of 1,000, and I'm like, so how much is she making to have a rent of $1,000? And you have a lot of people that are telling you, I've heard from millionaires, billionaires, and they're telling you, you need to be very frugal. Don't think that because you're making this amount in the month, this month or last month, you're going to make it again next month if you're not going to be creative about how you're making the money. So you can't sit down in a job that is paying you 500 a week and expect all the whole things you get in Nigeria the same way you're going to get it there. It's not going to be possible. And we are not seeing that. Most of us are just seeing that end amount. They're not looking at the breakdown. They're not looking at what it's going to take to transport yourself if you're not living close to your workplace. How you're going to feel when somebody doesn't even want to bump into you because you're of a different color, you're of a different race, you're of a different country.
Some don't even want black doctors.
Like, I'm on MBA programs and a lot of people are like giving warnings. Be very careful where you pick to come and school because the experiences will shock you where people are miserable for a year plus. I have a friend from high school. She wants to move back to Nigeria. She's like, she's just tired. And I'm like, who am I to say no? I'm pushing every opportunity I can find that I feel suits her. Do what you need to do. That's it. But the thing is, we need to know how it's going to affect you physically, emotionally, mentally. If you are ready for that fight, good and fine. If you are not, you need to really reconsider what you're going to do. Most people are not into that.
I think, Mary, you should add in the long term to it because I think the long term matters, because when you see 500 today, it's important. But how long with that are you going to earn that money for? How many years in the UK?
Exactly.
How many?
And
So we should
the
always
worst
think
part
with
is
the
that
long.
they're looking at now, in the next 2, 4, 5 years, you might be
Yeah.
thinking of getting married. You don't want to marry somebody that's also looking at the end point and not understanding that there's a lot of back charges going with that end point. There's a millionaire that said, you best marry somebody that is on the same financial lane as you are, or you will burn and you will just crash and burn. And that's it.
Thank you for your
Thank you,
contribution.
Miriam.
So maybe we should allow. We've spent about 2 hours now. We should allow Maury to end. If she has, then Dr. Ajayi would now give us closing talk so that we can all go and sleep and
Oh,
plan
sorry,
for
once
tomorrow.
Maureen just finishes, let us finish. I think I've spoken enough tonight.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you,
All
Doctor.
right, Coach Maureen.
Okay, so no, I don't really have much to say. I think the main thing I would say is that I think we've said so much this evening, and fortunate that thank you for all the questions. So it's really down to you guys now to use everything that you've learned on the program to make the most of it. And one thing I keep reiterating is that you know that idea of just leaving at is better here. It's not. I think Bumi said something that didn't come through. That a lot, so many doctors here will go and see patients, and the patients say, "I don't want you to treat me. I don't want a black doctor," and that can be so disheartening, and it's terrible now, especially now with the whole Black Lives Matter. It's all come out to the surface again. So people are blatantly racist now because they can talk about it. So there's a lot going on. So I think for you guys, have a focus of what you want to achieve. I think what Doug said last is just so true. It's really down to you. You need to know what you want and you need to decide who you're associating with and have that long-term plan for yourselves. But I think one thing I'll say is definitely have a plan of what you're going to do with this program. Don't let it be one that you've done and then as time goes on, it starts fading. Make the most of it. Use the information, the contacts, your mentors, everything to now move on and set up and do something for yourself. Either set up something for yourself or you guys can even collaborate. That is the big thing now. Do something together, come together, but make it matter. I think that's the key. Make it matter. So I wish you guys all the very best, and hopefully I'll still see you inside the community here and there. And try and keep attending the monthly coaching if you can. Because I think what we're going to be doing now, because the COVID really hampered a lot, but we're going to start having different guests on. And one thing I've said is that if you really have a specific topic or something that you want, if you let me know on time, I probably could bring somebody relating to that to come on to the session so we can just ask questions or talks to us. So yeah, all the best, guys, and I'll see you around.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much. All right, guys.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, Jesus Christ.
All right, Maureen. See you.
Okay, bye. See you.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Take care.